All right, so yeah, Casper didn't really hold up very well after all these years. It's not like it's a complete disaster or anything, but yeah, for the talent that was on display, yeah, we probably should have gotten a much better movie than what we did end up with. Okay, so Universal rejected a sequel that was pitched to them. I guess Steven Spielberg wasn't interested.
Or Christina Ricci, if I recall correctly. One thing that did happen in recent years in between an interview is that she didn't particularly like shooting. It's not like a case where Rosa invested on the set, but she wasn't particularly enthusiastic about the role.
Well,
so there is that.
Well, considering she's being courted by a creepy stalking ghost, I'm not gonna blame her.
Speaking of that, what is Casper doing in this movie?
Okay, so like George said, they decided to sell the movie rights to Fox. So Fox decided, and by Fox I mean like also Saban, so it's a combination between Fox and Saban. Don't ask me how the hell this works, it just does.
I can explain it briefly. Fox and Saban were in a working relationship when they were making the Fox Kids block at the time.
Oh, okay, thanks. So... yeah, Saban and Fox decided to make their own Casper prequel with blackjack and hookers. It's called Casper: A Spirit Beginning, and it's a direct-to-VHS and later direct-to-DVD, and has yet to be re-released in any other way, shape, or form. I'm not kidding. Aside from a recent repackaging of the original early 2000s DVD, this thing has never been released digitally, it's never been put on streaming, it's never been released on Blu-ray.
If you think there's a rights issue problem, when Universal purchased completely DreamWorks includes the rights to every property from Harvey Comics, which means currently Universal possess 100% everything Casper related.
Oh, and by the way, by repackaging, we mean that it's included as a bonus disc on the 25th anniversary of the original movie.
Yeah.
Essentially a glorified bonus feature along with
basically,
Casper's Care
keep this in mind, Shira, just to give you an idea of what kind of movie we're dealing with. Universal has so little faith in people's demand for this movie that they felt like they needed to package it with the original film just to make sure people get it.
Keep in mind, though, this version that we're looking at, God, the resolution is so bad. I'm gonna have to look at this minimized.
Basically everybody. Here's another example, Shiro, of how much Universal doesn't give a rat's ass about the two prequels. Both prequels are fully featured on YouTube for everybody to watch, and they've been there for years. Universal doesn't even want to even acknowledge this thing's existence because again, they could legally remove these from YouTube, but they don't bother because I guess they care so little about these movies because, yeah, this thing was just on YouTube. And yeah, but let's keep in mind, everybody, yes, these copies are obviously low resolution, but I mean, can you really blame us for not wanting to buy the fucking DVD for these movies? Especially because, if I remember correctly, I don't think the DVD was released in Europe, I think. Or I think it was only in America.
At least for my country, it was mostly just TV and VHS. I don't remember DVD circulating.
So
anyway, though, question. In regards to the proposed sequel that was canned, so we know for certain that it was canned before these prequels were even conceived, right? Or were these prequels always part of the plan?
No, the original plan, according to what's here. Keep in mind, there's not a lot of information from what I was able to find.
Wikipedia tells me it was in development for a while, and ultimately in the year 2000 they actually scrapped it. My guess is they in the meantime did these to keep the momentum going, but when it reached to a point where we're still arguing over making a sequel, and these prequels did not reach the expectation Universal had, they decided to can the project.
I was able to find a reason, Jova. So the sequel was the original screenplay for Casper 2 was actually written by Simon Wells, who you may know as one of the directors of Prince of Egypt. He was also going to direct the movie himself, aside from writing it. However, in July 2000, it was reported that Universal Pictures has canceled the sequel due to the disappointing sales from the direct-to-video Casper films. Okay, so there you go, Jova.
So basically, these prequels are the reason.
These prequels is the reason why we, not to mention it says right here, like Teo said, the hesitation of Christina Ricci. So basically, they didn't have their star. So combined with the fact that these sequels didn't sell jack shit, yeah, there you go.
apparently they tried to pull all the tricks they could with this prequel and getting it to sell well, because they literally have a tagline, buy the video before it disappears.
That is the tag. That is the tagline of a company that has no faith in their fucking movie. But
not at all.
Okay. So basically, everybody, this is what we got. Prequels. Keep in mind, Joe, but the only proper sequel the movie did get is, of course, the Spooktacular Adventures of Casper that was created by Sherry Stoner and Deanna Oliver, the actual writers of the original film. So that's the closest thing we ever got to a proper sequel. Except Cat doesn't look like Cat. Dr. Harvey doesn't look like Bill Pullman at all, but whatever.
And there's possibly a movie called Casper's Haunted Christmas or Haunted Holiday or
but
something.
That movie,
I'm not sure if that's in continuity with this or what.
That movie is unrelated to this trilogy. It's unrelated.
Shall we?
Yes.
Let's take a look at this specimen.
Okay, everybody.
The Saban logo, I believe.
All right, everybody, get on the link down in the description if you don't have the DVD, because hey, if Universal doesn't bother taking these out, might as well use it, right? So
it's on YouTube anyway. I mean,
start at 0, everybody. Okay, 3, 2, 1, click. So here's the concept for Casper: Spirited Beginning. It's a origin story explaining how Casper and his uncles met and became inhabitants of Williamstaff Manor. None of the characters. Okay, there are some returns from, like Malachi Pearson doesn't return to reprise as well as Casper. However, there are some people who do return for the first movie. We'll see.
Different roles, basically. They were
Okay, this is even more confusing. So let me get this straight. The sequel is in the works, but the prequels did not have all the elements from the main movie. Like, okay, let's assume the sequel had been made. You think people may have been a little confused? Well, okay, granted. I guess back then people didn't necessarily look into all the logistics of who was doing what in movies as much as we do nowadays. But
remember, Joe, this was back before the internet. So
this rendition of the Casper film is atrocious.
This was back before. This was back before the internet, Jova. So people didn't really have any ways of knowing better.
Ah, yes, I can feel the 90s flowing through this tune.
Yep.
Yeah, if we're doing this...
Yeah, this was made in the magical year of 1997.
Yeah, Casper is played by Jeremy Foley in this one. Also, you have Bill Farmer, Jess Harnell, and James Ward.
Jess Harnell?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Pauly Shore as the voice of Snivel.
Yes.
Great.
If you're a long time viewer from...
Jones? Wait.
James L. Jones, yes.
No. You did not kidnap James L. Jones into this.
Look, James, what are you doing? Is there no movie you'll say no to? I mean,
Mr. Harpaz, was there seriously no other work you could get after you finished Spider-Man?
So wait, hold on. Let me get this straight. We want to go for a cheaper prequel, so let's hire a big name like James Earl frickin' Jones. And no, he was not small news by the 90s.
No, he's the voice of Mufasa. I mean, he was it was incredibly well known at this point. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, like Jova noticed, none of the voice actors for the ghostly trio, aka Casper's uncles, return. So yeah, as you can see, this is clearly your typical 90s direct-to-video sequel.
Oh, you will see in a second. I will tell as soon as it shows up exactly, how it's actually filmed properly. But not through this initial sequence, it doesn't really give you this.
That being said, yeah, Pauly Shore as the villain psychic. Let me put it this way, everybody. Okay, let me tell you something, Shiro. Believe it or not, Shiro, back in the mid-90s, Hollywood had this weird obsession of desperately trying to force Pauly Shore into becoming a thing. It never came to be because, as you know, he eventually ran into obscurity before the Pinocchio movie came out. But yeah, for some reason, Shiro. Yes.
Andrew, you didn't tell me we were watching Rhapsody Street Kids.
Yeah,
what the hell?
By shitting on the first movie. Remember that sad backstory that Casper told about how he died and basically stayed?
This movie. Yeah, this movie completely contradicts it. By the way.
Oh my God! PlayStation game videos looked better than this.
Yeah, Pedro, if we were going to do a Saban movie, couldn't we have done the Power Rangers film first?
Sorry, Dibs. Not really.
It's like budget Christmas movie, Tia.
Yep.
Oh yes,
Polar Express right now.
I just want to remind you that one of the posters also calls this the all-new live-action film. So let's start with this god-awful CGI cartoon.
It's interesting.
Casper feels the same way we do.
It's interesting you say that. It's interesting you say that, Shira, because just like Chip says in the recent movie, yeah, Casper kind of does those Polar Express eyes.
Oh my god!
Oh god!
Goodness, lady.
You know what? I just realized the way these models are moving. This feels like something out of a Video Brinkado movie. That is not a compliment.
Else, again, it will become more apparent when we see the rest of the live-action stuff.
But yeah, let me just finish. Yeah, for some reason, everybody in the mid-90s, Hollywood really wanted, for some reason, to make.
Funny.
Yeah.
So they just Bible goes west him.
Basically, they really wanted Pauly Shore to be a thing in the mid-90s, and it didn't work for good reason, and it's still, and despite the internet really wanting it to be a thing now, it's never going to be a thing because Pauly Shore fucking sucks. Moving on.
Hold on. So let me get this straight. The reason he
Ben Stein
was because he got thrown off the train that was supposed to take him to the afterlife.
Again.
There you go, Shiroi. They had Ben Stein again, just like in the previous movie, except he's playing a different. Oh my God. That's as close as...
Oh my god, Ben Stein actually emoted?
Yes.
What kind of sorcery is this?
So, there you go. Well, okay. I will give this movie one thing. It managed to get Ben Stein to emote, so it has that going for it, at least.
I don't know, maybe that's what scared people away from it.
Oh my god, he looks hideous! Run!
Well, again. To be fair, this is how the shorts work. Casper just goes along, and everybody's super afraid and goes away and runs away from him. That's how the shorts are.
Okay. So I guess looks aside, this is not a bad start writing wise. Well, okay, if we ignore all the god awful ghost puns we got
The thing is that, as you can see, it will become more apparent as the movie goes on. But this is shot to basically the kind of tech and type of shooting that they have. This is basically a Goosebumps episode.
So yeah, notice what you just said.
One issue.
Notice what you just said, Jova. He just noticed that he's a ghost, which basically implies that he died just recently. So yeah, Jova, remember remember what you said in the previous commentary and how, okay, we can assume that Casper died many years ago, and that's why the I Keep You line maybe was better. Turns out, Jova, no longer. Apparently, Casper died recently now.
Hey,
so
Power Rangers, I wonder what company this movie.
Okay. See, here's the thing. It wasn't even an assumption on my part. The movie more or less says that he died in ye olden days, given how, his dad's stuff is clearly from the old days.
I guess, sure.
What the hell, continuity
this
department?
This is our protagonist, I forgot his name, but he's an insufferable child.
And there you go, Jova.
Steve Gutenberg.
Wow, Tio, Saban and not being able to write child characters well. And gee, what show was going on the same year this film came out?
I really need to see again Power Rangers Turbo because I don't seem to remember having that many problems with the Blue Ranger.
You know what? I will give you... I will say more power to you.
No. That's what I said. I need to see again just to see what the fuss is about.
So yeah, Jova.
Although I will say this, Twibs, he did get better in the following series, Power Rangers in Space.
Hold on, let me.
Yes, Pedro.
Okay, so the father here is an architect, and he's going to demolish the Whipstaff Manor to create it. Obviously, we know that doesn't happen because the first movie exists. And yeah, Jova, remember you were praising
the Whipstaff Manor, Pedro.
Let Pedro finish.
That's a thing, too. They claim that this is the house where they live, so shouldn't it be?
It's not even the same city, Pedro.
So what the fuck? How is this a prequel to the original film? Because it ignores
what I mean. This prequel completely omits to say how and why Casper and his uncles eventually came to Whipstaff.
Alright, let me finish a moment. Basically, Joe, remember that non-cliche relationship between father and daughter you praised in the first movie? Well, this movie gives you exactly what you were fearing with that movie. There you go.
Save the mansion!
Yeah, basically these people don't want the mansion to be destroyed because it's an important historical thingy. So yeah, okay. I have something also to talk about. Okay, this woman right here. This woman is from Full House, right? Okay, so I don't know what the hell direction they gave this woman, but even though this is supposed to be a full-grown woman, she sounds like Lacey Chabert in Lost in Space. She has a very high-pitched voice in this movie for some reason. You'll see better in later. You'll see better in later scenes.
I thought it was Ted Turner for a second.
Imagine.
Well, this is not Cartoon Network, it's Fox. So.
It's Fox Kids, yeah.
I don't think Ted Turner owned Cartoon Network yet.
Well, if I remember correctly, wasn't Hanna-Barbera / Cartoon Network owned by Turner Entertainment at this point?
Yeah.
At this point, yes.
Yes, so there you go then.
Oh, if it was, then
I also love how the architect has to be the mediator and not, other people responsible for the project.
Well, I've always wondered what...
Oh my god, we're doing this again.
So there you
also, I'm sorry, what teenagers would decry the making of a new mall?
Mini mall.
Or some would,
Yes,
but
but
you're telling...
Oh, I can explain that, Jova. You see, this is made by Saban, and Saban had this thing for young people to constantly be protesting against all forms of establishment.
Even though, I kid you not, teenagers would love a new mini mall.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know it's a very obscure question, but Jeremy Sweet aside, because he was doing a lot of songs for Saban at this point, I've always wondered what Harpaz and Einon Zur were doing in between Spider-Man and Digimon. Turns out it was doing the music for these movies.
There you go, Dwibs. Now you know now you solved the mystery.
Knowing
And
the battle.
And yes, I know a lot of Digimon's music was reused, but
okay. I get that it's an historical place and all that shit. I get that shit, but is it really worthy risking your life like that?
I mean, people do
Oh God!
Yeah.
It's even more noticeable with the...
Stretch, Fatso, and Stinky, what did they do to you?
They look like rotten jelly.
They were basically masquerading as frogs, ideally.
Are you sure?
Yeah, the green and the posture with the different, hands.
Wow.
Aside from that, nothing looked frog-like about them.
Guys, you didn't tell me that this was a Lost Power Rangers Turbo episode.
Okay, they're no longer green.
They changed their appearance to scare off the deconstruction.
That being said, I still have to ask, what did they do to them?
Also, this song, I know that it's about ghosts and everything, but it's so unfitting for the moment.
I mean, okay, I think it fits enough for this moment here. Though,
if anything, if Fox Saban was like this for almost its entire life,
hold on, these shots.
The Digimon movie starts to make a lot more sense.
Did you notice they run for your lives? Like there's a lot of weird screenshots.
The frame was missing there.
Not just that, again, the ghost, even the shitty resolution aside, the CGI for the ghost is somehow worse. How do you get worse effects than a movie from 2 years before?
Because the budget.
When it's on like a quarter of the budget.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I'm sorry.
They could not even recycle the pre-existing models that they had. That's so weird.
I'm sorry, but no, even on, a reduced budget, God, that budget must have been incredibly slashed. Or otherwise, this is just...
look at that. That's incredibly cheap on part of the...
Okay, I think...
They didn't re-release this because it looks so crusty.
You know what? I think Tio may have given me a good idea of how to summarize this. This feels like a very, very bad episode of Saban's Power Rangers.
Okay, so now...
I was saying earlier, this feels like a Lost Power Rangers Turbo episode.
So now the uncles are destroying private property. Yet another list of horrible traits to add to them.
Their turf.
It's to protect their home, yo.
What's with this voice?
Have I mentioned that this movie was made in the 90s?
These fucking puns. But yeah, just to mention.
Okay, did Sam Raimi? did Sam Raimi ghost direct this movie or something? Because what's up with all?
If he would did the humor would be much more funny.
Oh, I know that. It's just that we just had a shot. That shot of that woman screaming at the camera. That was some Sam Raimi stuff right there.
Gutenberg missed most of the stuff because he was in an old house.
It's a half-page of ghost.
Yeah. I know what I said.
You do instead the ghost of a chance.
Oh, look at that, guys!
Generic 90s
we just found the generic 90s bully squad. And look at...
He will be so proud.
But it is an interesting thing that I do like. I will give credit where credit is due. Also, one of the bullies is a girl. So there you go. Because usually in 90s movies, girls are never depicted as bullies, even though, girls can also be bullies. So it's nice to at the very least have diversity in your bully gang, I guess. Look, I'm trying to find points where I can get them, okay?
Now, the positive you could say, that at least for this initial attack, our protagonist actually manages to stand up a bit for himself, at the very least.
Also, he's going to a convention. What hobbies do you have?
No, but remember, sure, this was back in the 90s where being a nerd at Ghost at Cons was considered lame and, worthy a target for bullies, so...
Okay. They don't seem to be going after him because he's a nerd. They think he's a creep. Something about him doing creepy stuff like keeping spiders as pets or whatnot.
Yeah, how dare you have hobbies?
You want to wake up with a tarantula in your bed? Also, I think me and Alice had a discussion about this fairly recently. Going back to 90s and early 2000s shows and watching the portrayal of nerd culture is just so cringe.
It is.
Yeah.
Remember, Shira, back in the 90s... well, here's the thing. Okay. If I'm going to give it... Go on.
I love that bit. We don't do ghosts. Union rules. I like to imagine somebody did include that in the union handbook just in case.
That's interesting.
Yes,
okay, sure. If I'm going to at the very least give it some credit, it's not that the stereotype didn't exactly come out of nowhere. As someone who grew up in the 90s, I can tell you that yes, nowadays it's completely different, but I can tell you that back in the 90s, growing up in the 90s, as a nerd who, stays at home and likes to go to cons and shit like that, it wasn't the same thing that it is today, I can assure you, because back in these days, it was a very, you were considered nerd, being a nerd was associated with being, antisocial a lot of time, the outcast and shit like that. Nowadays, of course, that stereotype has died because it's stupid. But back in the 90s, unfortunately, society still had some progress to do regarding that matter.
Also, yes,
okay,
they instead the ghost of a chance pun. I guess 4 kids will be proud of that.
So apparently they're familiar with this kid, it seems.
Somehow. Okay, I get the feeling we need a prequel to this prequel. How the hell do they know this kid?
Whoa.
Well... I wonder if they're kind of pulling a Paranorman where the kid's seen as creepy because he's into all that macabre stuff.
Or more the fact that he's not the fatal ghost to the game with, because eventually before everybody was watching the X.
Wait, what? According to the Ectoplasma Britannica. What?
Okay, that joke is kind of funny to me.
Okay. If I can give this movie some credit. Some of the jokes actually do work out pretty well.
So this is like the Digimon movie.
Now, granted,
I barely laughed at that.
I know what I said.
Now, granted, the biggest problem with this movie is the massive, noticeable downgrade in quality. Okay, that's another good joke. I actually remember that one from the preview there. No, some of the writing is working here. I mean, there's nothing egregiously bad about the writing so far. The major issue so far is the massive downgrade in quality.
Ooh.
I know, some people may say, hey, good writing can save crappy animation or whatnot. Sure, maybe, but God, imagine if you were endeared by the first movie.
The problem,
this does not have it.
The problem is that whatever good jokes... Oh, God.
Okay, now it's time to introduce the two new characters for the movie.
That's the thing, Jova. Whatever good jokes may have, they're too few and too far in between. But anyway...
Because apparently the rules of the afterlife means that when you die, you're supposed to go to this kind of exchange station where you're basically properly registered, as a ghost and everything. And this particular station where Casper was supposed to be headed is, handled by the characters voiced by James Earl Jones, and in this fat fucker voiced by Pauly Shore.
Yes. And as you'll notice, and as you'll notice the moment he opens his mouth, everybody, no. Pauly Shore's voice hasn't really changed. He has always sounded like that.
All right, let's have a listen.
Oh no.
Isn't he one of those people where the idea around casting him is just because, he's Pauly Shore?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing, Shiro. Believe it or not, for some reason, somebody at Hollywood thought this guy was hilarious and he was going to be the next big thing in movies.
Remind me, was that a case where around the time he actually was a lauded actor who just eventually wore out his welcome?
Well, when he started doing stand-up, he did get enough of a following so that, again, he got noticed and eventually started getting into movies. But when he transitioned from stand-up comedian to movies, that's when his limitations started really showing.
Honestly, Tio, I know I kind of said this before, but I'll take this Afterlife over the one in Doctor Who.
But there's also the fact that Pauly Shore's comedy basically and there he is.
Listen.
Yay! Throw Pauly Shore out the window.
Oh, what the hell happened there?
I don't know, Shiro. This movie
I'm sorry, even by direct-to-video standards, this feels uber cheap.
Also, yes, James Earl Jones' character, the James Earl Jones takes the movie super seriously, and as such his performance is the best in the movie. Is the entire role of this guy, which is supposed to be super intimidating, Kaposh, is that he doesn't remember properly Casper's name, but despite that, he will still properly hunt him down in order to register him properly. Bureaucracy be damned.
That's the plot, everybody. This guy really wants Casper to be properly registered as a new ghost, and he will keep changing him to get him to sign the... That's it. So that's our plot.
Bad guy?
The movie registers him as a bad guy, Jova, somehow, because of this.
I mean, sure, he looks creepy, but it sounds like he's just trying to do his job as part of the natural order.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the
okay. Is the twist going to be that we think he's a bad guy, but it turns out he's just a good guy, or is the movie really just dead set on him being a bad guy?
He doesn't do much in the movie. He's lucky when he's played by Pauly Shore. He's the one that has to do most of the lifting.
So let me get this straight. You hired James Earl Jones, one of the notable actors from Lion King, at the time the highest-grossing animated film of all time, and you give him the big and towering role that has questions compared to the annoying sidekick.
Shiroi, is this, iffy?
Wait, Dangerfield? What are you doing here?
Remember, it's
the mayor of the town.
He's the other actor they got Dennis to return.
Wait. Okay. Again, kudos where kudos is due here. Okay, yeah, that joke might definitely turn some heads there, but again, I will admit, a lot of this is getting chuckles out of me.
Also, to actually answer Pedro's previous question, I think it's just stupid more than like...
No, but that's the thing. Like the old lady is using that thing because she can barely walk, but then all of a sudden she gets scared and now she can run and do backflips.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's weird.
Okay. When it comes to
I think you were talking about the granny underwear shot rather than the vaulting over the pin.
Well, that too, but
Okay, anyway, I guess the idea is, again, adrenaline can help people do some crazy stuff despite their usual body structure. So I'm guessing the idea is that she got so terrified that she was suddenly able to pull all that stuff off.
Oh yeah, clearly this is not in any way a trap. Clearly these bullies are actually cool with things. Clearly.
Also, I know Hollywood isn't actually this smart, but people who use mobility aids aren't always not able to do this, that, and the other. There's a thing as having good days and bad days. So yeah. But again, Hollywood is not this smart.
Oh. Oh, now it's. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Pedro, you were asking why there's a girl in the team of bullies. It's just so she can become the love interest of our protagonist.
Yeah, that's the weird. I was about to bring that up. That's the weird thing. Even though she's part of the bully gang, for some reason she's clearly out of place here. For some reason she has she's still. Why. They put. Hold on, let me finish. They put a. Oh yeah, listen to her. Listen to the teacher's voice.
This is America.
Not just that. Seriously, when I look at this woman, the voice. Okay, it's amazing to me that this is not an animated film because
the irony.
If it was an animated film, I would say that the actress is miscast. But no, this is actually the woman's real voice, and yet I don't know when I hear that voice coming out of that person, it just feels weird.
I can tell you why they're doing this, Pedro. See, here's the thing that hack writers like to do. Usually, they'll have this gang of bad guys, but they'll have a token female on the bad guys' bounty. And it's to show that, because she's a woman, she is clearly able to reform herself and, can actually become good. Unlike the other villains, it's a trope as old as the 60s and yet still persisted to this day.
That being said, I have to address what she just said. She looked at the kid's dad on TV and said, wow, TVs aren't usually this flattering. So yeah, immediately this woman is now for some reason is...
First of all, you find Steve Guttenberg attractive. What is... what you're smoking.
The irony. She calls his father a weasel.
That's a stupid name.
Again,
you sound vaguely threatening.
Yeah, that's what
I really have to wonder.
Is she a transfer teacher that she doesn't know that the kid's father is Steve Guttenberg?
I don't know. That begs the question. Seriously, did the actress before coming in to shoot her scenes breathe in some helium or something? Because her voice sounds way higher pitched than her age would. I don't know. It sounds weird to me.
Did she sound like that in Full House?
No, I don't remember her sounding like that in Full House. I'll have to go back and watch, but
episode of Full House.
It's terrible too. It's aged like sour milk.
Great.
Some people's voices just don't match their faces anyway.
Was Kirk Cameron part of that? I know he's an ex-child actor, so...
I guess.
My working theory...
Also, both our life sucks, let's be friends!
Yeah.
You and I are not so unalike.
Wait, Shira, your life sucks? My life also sucks! We should be best buddies.
Let's be besties.
Alright, go on, Shira.
You joke, but that's kind of more or less how the plot of Avenue Q starts.
I mean, yeah, it does.
Go on, Shira.
My working theory about the bully group is that, she only hangs out with them just so she can see him all the time.
Yeah, I get the feeling. Yeah, I get the feeling they're. I generally get the feeling. Again, this is of course 90s writing, like Jova said. Typically, the girls in 90s kids movies always were either the nice innocent girls or the really mean snooty girls. That was basically it for 90s kids movies. I guess this movie was trying. This movie at the beginning. Yeah, this movie at the beginning feels like, it's actually doing something interesting. It's actually creating a girl bully that you don't usually see. But then they completely back out on that potential creative idea and go back to typical 90s writing.
It's not so much that they back out, it's more so that, again, they do the thing where, the girl starts as a villain, but she's the one member on the team of bad guys who actually reforms proper.
That's the thing. In order for there to be a reform, she first has to do a couple bad things first. But no, she's right from the beginning, she has only done good stuff so far.
Well, remember, Pedro, she was in on that ploy to get the boy hit with whatever was in that slime balloon.
Look like custard or pudding or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I'm curious.
Oh, go on.
So I'm curious. Are ghosts a well-known phenomenon in this town or not? Like, on the one hand, it seems to be somewhat common knowledge that ghosts are a thing. But on the other hand, we have bouts like the boy's father clearly not knowing that ghosts are a thing because he insists that ghosts aren't real. Even though we have now had a mass panic of people who did, in fact, see these ghosts.
Well, the thing about the father is, from the moment we met him, he was portrayed as the workaholic who, doesn't pay attention to anything outside of his own bubble, including his own son.
Yeah.
Okay, there's
Maybe
being
he's
a
just that
workaholic.
oblivious.
Also, that joke.
Wow.
Also, that joke fails him before because, first of all, how the hell does a ghost have bones?
Wait. Hold on. Pedro, the news spout there. Did that news spout mention the ghosts?
Did it? I don't know. I wasn't.
That being said, assuming that this stuff must have gotten documented at some point, because again, enough people have.
Go away.
Yeah, the twist is that apparently the three uncles also did not actually got registered properly by Kabash a long time ago, so Snively think he can do a 4-in-1 combo.
Oh boy, I'm sure that'll succeed.
So basically, go on.
I'm gonna have to ask a similar question I asked with Wonder Woman 1984. How is none of this stuff, this crazy stuff going on in this town, recorded to the point where, at the very least, there would have been some news outlets at least hinting at the fact that, hey, ghosts may very much be alive and well, given how, remember in the first Casper movie, Christina Ricci's father, played by Bill Pullman, was absolutely seen as a nut, because nobody believed ghosts were a thing, but here, people have seen ghosts. Clearly, here and there. And it's not just confined to a mansion either. No, the town has been witness to this stuff here to the point where a massive crowd ran away in panic. So, what happened?
Joe, when you were saying questions earlier in regards to this Wonder Woman 1984, I thought you were going to say why.
Anyway,
what's with these obsession with union rules?
The movie. This is the movie trying to portray itself. See, we're clever. We talk about adult-related matters. That means we're smart, and we're making really jokes for the adults. See? Go on.
I will say this: the uncles seem to be nicer in this movie than in the original.
I have a suspicion, Jova, that they were reacting to the mixed reception the uncles got in the first movie.
Also,
Probably.
This starts the major... Sorry, go on.
Probably. The uncles were a thing that would later show up in other iterations of Casper following this.
Yeah.
And for the most part, while they do play their pranks and whatnot, from what I have seen and understand, they are way less mean-spirited than they were in their original debut.
How is he falling? He's a ghost.
Not just that,
he's a ghost who doesn't know how this works.
Because
that's the thing. It will be shown permanently later, also because the ghosts ideally have told out to teach him, so I'll explain actually more later, because it's important to meet another character played by, I think it's another relatively famous actor,
yes,
which is supposed to be basically an exterminator, but takes things seriously by blowing shit up like that.
So there you go. Steven Gutenberg is going to hire this guy to blow up the manor.
Let me check, just to be sure.
I'm calling it now. Steve Gutenberg's character is gonna fall in love with Sheila.
Yeah, they are. Jova.
It's very predictable.
Yeah. How could Saban afford to pay all these actors?
I'm convinced they had some dirt. They had some dirt on them.
Okay.
I got it. I got a theory, guys. I know how this works. They all the money that was supposed to go into the Turbo movie, some of it got siphoned off into paying the actors for this one.
There you go, Michael McKean.
I have no evidence whatsoever. I have no evidence whatsoever of this, but it's a theory.
Okay, there you go. Now it's more relevant. Remember, the three ghosts that have taken to themselves to teach Casper the tricks. The problem is that, the movie since this point, we've seen Casper perform these things unintentionally on his own anyway. So technically speaking, he's capable already of doing this stuff, and for some reason, the movie artificially stops it because he pretends that he's not capable.
Okay, apparently he's only just realized that he's dead, so I guess he has to learn the logistics of how all these ghost tricks work. But, yeah. Anyway, the budget for this was actually $500,000.
Yeah, $500,000.
Well, there you go.
Like, by movie standards, and yeah, even direct-to-video standards, that's
chump change. That's chump change.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, the way they keep pronouncing the name, it sounds more like they say D's Town.
I'm just wondering, how did they negotiate low salaries for these actors? Like, did James Earl Jones just read the script and really like the part they offered him?
This was probably just a simple, check for him.
I'm assuming it was probably something that could be done uber quick, so he could pretty much go to the next
Kabosh
big
can
thing.
do that.
Plus, Command & Conquer 2 was 2 years away, so...
Remind me, Jova. Did James Earl Jones reprise his role in that one line Mufasa has in Simba's Pride?
Yes, I believe so. Well, wait. It was either that or archived.
Yeah, it was like a
but either way, that was James Earl Jones.
Okay. Well, then again, Jova, they also managed to drag him into the pilot movie of Lion Guard. So.
Oh man.
Well, okay. One, I could see him being under contract, and two, before we knew what Lion Guard was gonna be, there wasn't much reason to believe that it wasn't gonna be, at the very least, decent.
Sure.
I mean, again, we had no idea.
We're still prolonging this joke about the teacher Sheila not knowing that the kid's father is Steve Gutenberg. None of her calling is telling her that.
Also, wait a minute. I thought this was public school. If it's then why is he wearing?
I'm pretty sure they're here for like.
Event. It's a science fair.
I'm pretty sure they're here for like that or open house event. Usually, you dress well for those.
Mm-hmm. See if you're ready to present something, like in this case.
Also, these kids are not good actors. Sorry.
No. Let me check if the kid actor actually went somewhere.
Oh my God, hon! Like, couldn't you get? Seriously,
these bullies don't have anything better to do.
Like the child acting in general is not good, but the girl in particular, like, I had to go now. It's like seriously.
It wouldn't too be surprising, but this was literally the first film role for the child actor. He had done only a bit of television before that.
Yeah, nowadays he's apparently an acting coach.
Yeah, he retired officially from acting in 2001.
Honestly, part of me does wonder.
Actually, no.
If you weren't going to crank things up with the child actors, why not focus on the adult actors who you clearly somehow blackmailed into coming here? Because, look, I don't really care for Steve Gutenberg, but he was a big name at the time.
Wait.
Well, in a manner of speaking. Again, like I said, most of the people on these casts are not small-timers. Hell, yes, for as much as Pauly Shore is a bad actor, he was still, like,
famous.
A real big deal in the 90s. So even still, I can't imagine getting him, James Earl Jones, and all these other actors was... Well, okay, apparently it was cheap, because again, only $500,000 of budget on this movie.
See, the thing is with Paul is that his humor revolves around just him doing stupid shit. It's like Carrot Top. Like, and again, that's another comedian that I also don't understand the appeal of. Like, he just does stupid shit with an annoying voice, and that's his comedy. Like, I don't.
I think his stand-up was better, possibly. Like, there are tons of stand-up comedians who definitely just work best with stand-up and not really anything stuff. So anyway,
I've seen the stand-up. I've seen his stand-up. It's better than his movie career, I guess, but it's not really something that I go out of my way to watch. Go on.
Oh my god, these ladies obsessed with this thing.
Yeah.
So, it is my pleasure to announce that reception-wise, this movie got 42% on the audience score, but for the extra critical score, it has 0%.
Gee, I wonder why.
It's a positive.
It's not even just the fact that she's obsessed with it too.
How old did the Turbo?
It's also she's also influencing the kid heavily on that, like swinging the argument into her.
Also, Dwibs, you said
But
that.
see, she says, "Great kid, crummy dad."
Dwibs, you said that this kid is now an acting coach. What does he do with his students? He shows them this movie here. What you're supposed to do is you act the opposite of how I act in this movie. See?
That's a big thing. I checked the his career. He did actually became the voice of Casper for that haunted Christmas movie Trevor was mentioning.
Well, God! And ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to your nightmare for the next few weeks. You enjoy.
Also, thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning, if you've been a long-time viewer of Kadikaru, so he did actually review this movie relatively early on. He still has the review up, and it's fine for what he needs to tell.
It's one of his older videos, so it's not as refined as his recent stuff, so keep that in mind.
Anyway, Dwibs, to answer your question, the Power Rangers Turbo movie has a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay. Shiroi, basically...
Oh, I do love the consensus on it. No Power Rangers.
Ha 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 ha. To be fair, that's actually good. Okay. Basically, Shiroi, we learned that the teacher, for some reason, has a crush on the kid's dad, and also the dad hired a guy with that's an explosive nut to blow up the mansion. And also Casper did an incredibly wild take with a big open mouth that was flat out nightmare inducing, so I guess be grateful that you missed that.
I missed that.
Okay, now Steve Gutenberg tries really hard to sound like the dad that wants to reconnect with his son.
I'm just glad I missed it too.
Alright, so this is the dad trying to be better.
Steve.
I got the mayor on my ass.
Steve, try again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Steve. Could you try and do that in a way that doesn't make you sound like a prick?
Yeah, not to mention, I thought his delivery was a bit off. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the Casper A Spirited Beginning Challenge. Can you be a worse actor than Pauly Shore in this movie?
Look.
Honestly, it feels like Gutenberg is trying.
Yeah, I can tell that he's trying to come across as endearing, but it just comes across as a crazy weirdo.
Honestly, I hate to say it. I think I might have to agree with Dwibs that Gutenberg might be a worse actor than Shore in this movie specifically. Like,
it's
don't get me wrong,
because it's again, his role is more prevalent than Pauly Shore's one.
I will give Pauly Shore credit. He's probably doing his role better to his abilities. Gutenberg is supposed to be a dad who may be a bit of a goof, but can be quirky and silly a bit. But no, the
he's
dad...
not showing up at 4.
Not just that, like...
Shiroi, what makes you guess of that?
See, the thing is...
Literally with the baseball game and everything.
It's basically what Teo said. Steve Gutenberg actually has a major role, whereas Pauly Shore is not that much into the movie. Compared to this with the Pinocchio A True Story movie, where Pauly Shore is the protagonist, and that's where, of course, his flaws are there in bare for everybody to see.
Also, Power Rangers action figure again.
Well, we are owned by Saban now.
Despite the marketing... Well, still... Despite the marketing hyping up Znivuli and Kabash, they don't appear that much into the movie.
Nope.
Okay, like, even without the presence issue here, Shore is doing his role better. Yes, it's annoying, but that's the point of the character. Gutenberg's acting, I feel, is worse because... with the way that the father is supposed to be, the acting is not selling it. If anything, the acting makes the father out to be more of a prick than the writing wants us to think he is.
Yeah.
Was Sean McNamara asleep at the wheel or something?
I don't know.
And yes, and by the
director.
yeah, the director of this and the next movie we're going to do after this, Casper and Wendy, or Casper meets Wendy, depending on where you live. Like in some countries, it's called In some countries, it's called Casper and Wendy as a direct reference to the original comic. But the official original name is Casper meets Wendy. But whatever.
I think in my country it's called Casper and Wendy: A Magical Friendship or something.
Magical Friendship.
Yeah, they have a subtitle like that.
Yeah, how magical.
Also, I checked.
Oh my god, this movie looks terrible.
I was wondering, like I said, it's shot like a Goosebumps episode instead.
Yeah, you see, Jova, this is exactly. Yeah. Oh god, this joke.
Yeah. No, it's not even this joke. It's what's about to happen.
Thank you. I needed that. All right. Believe it or not, Shiro, this is not the worst part of the joke. Check this out. Oh yeah, well, we still have one more scene. Oh yeah, right here. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Okay. That got another laugh out of me.
I will give it a
kind of funny.
I will give it a pass only because the punchline is where he gets slapped.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They kind of saved it at the end there.
I do feel like the jokes here are hit and miss, but I feel like they might have a few more hits than misses. The problem is, again, couple that with the absolute cheapness of this movie, and oh boy,
and the acting, yeah.
Also, I was just checking to see, when it comes to Steve Guttenberg, how separated this was from Zeus and Roxanne, and no, it was from the same year. So, yeah.
So now we have to ask the question: is this better or worse than Zeus and
Technically
Roxanne?
worse. Well, okay, it depends on your judgment.
I mean,
because Zeus and Roxanne involves in the climax of Steve Guttenberg trying to say a woman that's about to drown.
I mean, granted, I haven't seen that movie in literally years, but I remember at the very least looking like a proper movie.
Also, they try to keep the whole racism between ghosts and humans, a thing from the previous movie, but it's such a sloppy attempt.
Oh, okay. I found a way I can enjoy this movie somewhat. I close my eyes and listen to the music. I can pretend I'm watching Digimon.
Sure. Yes, Jova?
So what you're saying, Pedro, is that the love story of a dog and a dolphin is better than this?
Also,
well, that movie...
you guys have nothing better to do.
I kind of have a soft spot for that movie because of how ridiculous the premise is.
To me, I can tell you because I actually bothered to see it a bit recently. And by that I mean 1 or 2 years ago, tops, Jova. It's mostly boring for the most part. It's just that the most bizarre thing that I can tell you is that, again, aside from the forced romance between you and the dolphin, is that at the end it tries to pretend that Steve Guttenberg is a hero like David Hasselhoff in Baywatch.
Picture this, Shiroi. Zeus and Roxanne is a movie that is, believe it or not, a love story between a dog and a dolphin.
Sure.
By the way, the librarian is not noticing any of these for the time being.
A shitty librarian.
Oh.
Also, I like how they were making fun of him for hanging out.
Oh my god!
In a library at school. It's like, wow, that's so weird.
You know what? No, I'm gonna have to say this. The girl is the worst actor for me. Like, seriously, she's awful. Like, she delivers her lines so lifelessly.
Hey, now she's noticing it.
Okay. This sounds like the song that plays in the second season of Digimon when they go into the digital world. This is so a terribly sweet song.
They did to the music if this is to remind you that.
The riff sounds somewhat like it.
Anyway.
Again, that's the thing with Saban. Sometimes they had a habit of reusing music, and in some cases they just like alter tracks to fit the current show they're doing.
I know.
And yeah, as you can see, most of this movie is just wacky hijinks.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Shouldn't the principal be believing him that there was a ghost since the principal saw
I guess
that
he's
ghost
prioritizing
too?
the fact that the kid is just
That is a bad line. Like, nothing like overkill. What does that even mean?
Because he's a ghost. How did he high-five him?
Because, shut up,
Guess
that's
he
why.
knew how to solidify his hands this time?
Yeah, that's the problem.
He's learning.
Yeah, that's the problem. You know, Detective Steve, I also recommend watching the Detective Steve review too, because that one is more recent. Detective Steve's review of this movie also points out a really good thing. This movie is even more inconsistent regarding that aspect. Again, so many times in this movie, do physics actually affect the ghosts, only to immediately right after start again not affecting them. Like, and it's incredibly inconsistent.
Did they ever explain that, they can control when they can make contact with stuff?
Not that I'm aware.
Well, okay, I guess there was the point where they were training Casper and he got stuck in the portrait with the butt choke and whatnot, so maybe the implication is that they can control how corporeal they are?
Okay, I found the child actress for the girl, Shannon Chandler. She didn't do much, but apparently she's a Saban regular because she was a regular role in Beetleborgs, then Curse of the Shadowborg, and then you're invited to Mary Kate and Ashley's birthday, I guess?
Wait,
school dance party.
Oh, look at that. Now we're doing a Looney Tunes routine. So like Shiwa, like you said in your final thoughts, this movie also does share one problem with the original. It tries to do Animaniacs like cartoon antics, but these kinds of antics work much better in animation than they do in live action.
To be fair, I don't think it's impossible to do in live action, but I'm just gonna say this. I feel like the interaction was done better in the first movie than this one.
Dumb donut.
First off, this movie actually had the budget to pull. The first movie actually did have the budget to pull it off. This movie doesn't.
Look at that! Yeah, today I'm definitely gonna rob this.
You are the worst robber ever.
Why would you do that in broad daylight?
Is he high on heroin or something?
It's like Nathan in Life is Strange, who I'm going to beat up these kids. Where? In the middle of the parking lot of the school where everybody can see it. That's a clever idea.
Also, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen Casper treating his powers like it's a
hold on. Listen to this.
Superhero.
Listen to this. Okay, Jova, I think we've realized something now. Apparently the people in this city are ghostists, because I know you're a joke, but you saved my life, so you're cool.
No. He said, I know you're a ghost, but you saved my life, so...
Well, yeah.
You're cool.
So why does he have to prove himself as cool to the person? Why can't the person just, give him the benefit of the doubt? Again, it kind of comes...
This movie tries to...
Okay, the way the scene went was Casper was trying to assure him that even though he's a ghost, he won't hurt him, because, most people who have seen ghosts are kind of reasonably freaked out, essentially. So I think the way that scene goes is like, it's okay, I'm not scared, in fact, here's some jerky.
See, sure, that really is coming.
It's like, you're not going to possess me, I guess we're friends now.
Yeah, and now the father also didn't know about the fact that the teacher was the same as the leader of the protest.
Shiroi?
Like, this is a small town. How did people not know each other like that?
Shiroi,
the dad, sorry?
Steve Guttenberg.
He kind of sounds like Lin-Manuel Miranda.
He does kind of, but sure. You know how we talked about plenty of times about the whole people don't plot only happens because people don't talk thing. Now this is a new one. This is the one where the plot advances because people are stupid. So this is even worse, in my opinion.
That's an idiot plot, essentially.
Yeah,
this one's more common.
Idiot plot.
Yeah.
Is the kid about to have a stroke?
The kid is about to Hulk out. That's what is happening.
He's an architect. I'm sure he has enough money for at least, like, a nanny or something.
Well, sure, it wasn't so much about him having somebody to look after him. It's just that He was hoping his dad would finally be able to make it.
You see,
with him.
I understand that, but it seems like this kid has no sort of parental
what Shiro said. See, the problem. See, here's the thing. Like I've said in our Life is Strange commentary, I actually spent like the first 6 years of my life living with my grandparents because my parents were too busy, but to leave me alone. So obviously I was left with my grandparents. So that's fine. But this kid is just apparently just left all alone throughout pretty much 90% of the time. Apparently.
Yeah, I had a secondary parental figure because both my parents had busy jobs. So
Same.
Yeah, exactly.
All the grandparents for me.
This wasn't a relative, but still a pseudo-parental figure.
God, I feel like the odd one out here. My parents were there for me a lot to the point where I don't think I ever was home alone.
Well, for me,
I was 12 or something.
Well, for me, Joe, it was only the first 6 years of my life. After that, we moved, and they also switched careers into restoration, and that's when things started changing there.
Now the shenanigans. The idea behind is that the teacher should not have to see Casper. So the logical thing is that have Casper hide inside a wall or like in the attic or something and don't move from there. But no, we gotta need to do the stupid routine of Casper camouflaging as environment for comedy's sake.
Question. Why do we need to hide the fact that Casper's a thing? I mean, look, at this point,
because
people
Jova
have seen that ghosts are real. It's not some big secret.
but don't you see, Jova?
It's funny.
But don't you see, Jova? The reason we have to hide Casper is because if people see, they'll go, ghost! Yeah, basically. Like in
As you can imagine, they're not even trying to make these funny.
It's like in the shorts.
Yes.
Right, Whips?
Sorry?
It's like in the shorts, right, Whips?
I guess. It's been a while since I've seen the shorts.
Yeah.
Also, there's also, I'm sure it's the an unintentional effect, but there's also Kadikaru's noticed. The whole scene also comes off very awkwardly as the kid tried to flirt with his teacher, and it gets creepier by the second.
Yeah.
Well, okay, to be fair, kids crushing on their teachers, that's a common occurrence.
No, I don't mind. I understand that, Jova, is that you can tell that this is a more unintentional kind of thing, and they just stumbled into something that they did not want it to, and it gets accidentally on the creepy side.
Hey, I'll raise you one better. How about blank check to the point where the kid gets a full-on kiss on the lips?
That was actually intentional on the part of the makers. No.
That doesn't really make it better though, given how, again, lip-to-lip contact by the end.
I mean, there was also the Book of Henry. I know she wasn't
I was about to mention
a teacher, but ugh.
Well, remember, Shiroi. Remember, in Book of Henry, it wasn't the teacher that was a pedophile. It was.
I'm sorry. Did I miss a scene or something? Casper said, "I don't think she likes me." I don't recall her ever having even met you.
Yeah. What do you mean she doesn't like you? She doesn't even know you.
Oh God, more fucking songs.
You know, Dwebs, I get the feeling that your parents don't like me.
But they never met you.
Exactly.
Hey, did you know that Saban did this?
Well, okay, specifically, okay. Honestly, one thing that surprised me
What?
when I saw the music credits for this film, that neither he nor Shuki Levy tried to credit themselves for the music like they used to do.
This is a typical 90s kids montage where, go on.
So I just want to reiterate that based off of this movie not being received well, the makers decided, that first movie doesn't need a sequel after all.
There's nothing really based around this movie, Jova.
Okay, like I said.
That's the thing, though. Apparently, it was because the prequels didn't do so well that the
that's not what I
sequel
meant,
got canned.
don't worry.
I remembered Casper Meets Wendy being better. Not much better from what I remember, but I remember it being better than this, at least.
I recall seeing snippets of that movie, and I think you're onto something with that.
I mean, they have. Here's a fun fact here. Guess who they got to play Wendy?
Also, yes, Mayor Dangerfield. Remember him?
Yeah, Mayor Dangerfield.
Also, who, Pedro?
Wendy, Shiroi. Do you know Wendy, the classic Casper character, the little witch dressed in red? I don't know if you've ever seen.
Yeah.
She hits the first major role of Hilary Duff.
Oh, really?
Also, yes, this C-plot basically is that, again, Steve Gutenberg hired this guy, the military guy that we saw before, to sneakily, and by that I mean in a comedic way, plant a TNT bomb, and we will see a very classic one. Also, hi, cute mouse. Don't do that. Plant a bomb in the house so we can destroy it, and we have a good excuse to actually, run it down.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing she really before she got her breakout role at Disney as Lizzie McGuire, her role as Wendy was actually the first major role that she's ever had. At the age of 11,
Ayun Zuri trying so hard for the Mission Impossible film.
Tio. Since one of the composers of this movie, Ayun went on to do a lot of video games after this, what product do you think is better? This that he was involved in, this or the 2008 Prince of Persia?
Prince of Persia, the music in that is fantastic. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, look. 2008 Prince of Persia may have issues, but no, just off of the fact that it actually had...
Oh, he was also. Zur also did music for the original English dub of Vision of Escaflowne.
So, let me get this straight. So, when Dragon Ball Evolution did that whole CGI no sweat thing, it was ripping this movie off, apparently.
Which in turn was ripping off the first Mission Impossible.
It's like... You'd think by 2009 they would manage to make a CGI sweat drop look natural, but no, that still looks worse than in this movie. How sad is that?
Look at that. That's a very cartoony bomb, TNT bomb.
You'd be surprised. A lot of people actually do set up demolition by rolling up sticks of dynamite into a roll.
This reminds me of a skit we have over here about a plane bombist. Okay. So let me ask you this.
Oh no! Now he's stuck with the bombs.
It was the mouse with
guess not.
The cable.
By the way, everybody, I'm still in this movie.
Yes, James. Are you gonna do something?
Okay, that level polisher was kind of interesting. And yes, Kabash is gonna take things.
Also, can we talk about the editing for a moment? The editing is so obnoxious too, because it just keeps cutting.
Oh my god! Wait, hold on. Ghost Royal's crime, it was in the news! So, you're telling me all this stuff happened, and okay. I know the internet may not have been as big a thing at that time as it was, but I'm sorry.
Well, it wasn't a thing, period, at this time.
I can tell you, Drova, that it's not a case like Resident Evil 3. They don't nuke accidentally the town at the end, so there are survivors.
Yeah.
Okay, the thing is, Pedro, the internet was a thing by 1997. It wasn't the internet as we know it, but it was a thing still.
I guess.
Dial-up was how you did it, though.
I guess.
Just put that into perspective. Regardless, though, you're telling me that there's no coverage of this in the original movie to the point where people don't believe that ghosts exist yet? No, apparently this town clearly is A-okay with believing that ghosts exist. So, unless this is a very, very secluded town, I call bullcrap.
Hey, sure, I guess... Hey, sure, maybe we can still salvage this by introducing Casper to Daddy. I'm sure.
Guess what cliche is gonna happen?
Sure, this'll be great. Honestly, Dad deserves a fright. Damn!
Believe it or not, it gets worse.
No. Honestly, the dad completely deserved that.
No, he did. That's how, you've made this kid mad. It's like, kid, I pay the mortgage. Let me in.
So what happened to the mom?
She's never acknowledged, from what I remember.
Once at least.
The mom became Divatox or something. I don't know.
She died
at given what people on the train at the beginning, maybe.
She died of Disney-itis.
Dreams, given what happens to Divatox in the end of Power Rangers Into Space, you might be onto something there.
Oh god, please don't tell me that. He just said, no. I mean, what Steven Cooper just said. You're sounding like your teacher. Oh, please don't. I don't like the teacher's voice.
As in argument.
So this is literally like Hook. Like seriously, this was such a '90s cliche of the absent parent.
Well, to be punished severely.
To be fair,
I would be the first to say that if you have you have a huge life dedicated to your work, don't have children. That's a basic kind of thing.
Okay, to be fair, this is not exclusive to the 90s, really. And it's not just about the absent parent. No, the problem with this writing trope is it's the kid who assumes that their parent is the devil for being away so long, even though, that work is what puts money on the table.
Yeah.
It gives you a house and clothes and whatnot. And again, like I said, this was a thing even before the 90s. Now, granted, this is ironically one of the better done versions because the dad is at least acting wise, he comes off as a prick, so he absolutely deserves this ridicule from his son.
Both of them basically. Also, yes, Shiro and Jova, we get the cliche of because of circumstances, Casper cannot show up, and as such, Gutenberg is obviously not gonna believe it. So.
And now,
Cassandra, can't catch a break, can he?
And now, Shiroi, this is the thing. Okay. Despite, like Jova said, Steve Gutenberg's acting hasn't been properly conveying how the character is supposed to come across right now. However, I guess the writers realize that because the writers now have decided to completely turn him into an unlikable asshole, as you're about to see. Check this out.
Okay. If this were... Man.
Well, I get that. That was a jerk line from the kid, but what the fuck? What?
Oh my god, this is Paranorman before Paranorman. The whole dad can't stand the kid who's into all the macabre stuff and whatnot.
Yeah,
oh my god, this is a prototype for Paranorman.
Except Paranorman was great and this
I love the music. The sheep music is trying so hard to sell the dramatic moment.
Apparently this is an orchestra.
I guess they blew their budget on the orchestra.
Oh, wait.
Seriously, this is... Okay. From a writing standpoint, where is this coming from? Like Jova was about to ask. Seriously, this is so out of character from what they've established this character as. They've established this character as, yes, he's flawed, he's absent, all that shit, but he's still somewhat trying to...
God, and now he thinks
but now we have textbook child abuse. What a great fucking...
Oh yeah, sure, that's the thing, sure. Not only is that terrible, it's also terrible because it's a complete contradiction to how the character has been portrayed as until this point.
We've seen him be sort of absent in his kid's life, but we've not seen him be any way abusive ever.
Yeah, this. Where the fuck did that come from?
Not even subtly either. It's not like this was a build-up to underlying attitudes or anything. This is just
Elvis's ghost.
Now in the movie, I guess.
Yes, Jova.
Okay, to try and make heads or tails of that scene. I can understand correctly. The point of that was that they were trying to come to an understanding, and the father was willing to see if the ghost was real, so kudos to him there. When the ghost didn't show up, he thought that Sheila either put him up to this, or the son just has an overly imagination.
Because remember, he had X-Files and Steven Staff poster in his room. That's why.
Like I said, this is basically prototype Paranorman, essentially. Clearly, they don't have an understanding.
Look at that. They have a complete family, and they're so happy while he's not.
See, the thing is...
Meanwhile, apparently the father is under a lot of stress due to the importance of this particular job going through with the mayor and whatnot.
Do you people have nothing better to do?
No, Teo, they're 90s bullies. 90s bullies live and breathe specifically to torture their victims.
Don't get me wrong. Now the bully has a proper grudge against our protagonist because he got basically reprimanded by the principal. So this kid probably has more of a target on his head again. It's the middle of the night, and we did not expected him to show up like that. Seriously. Stephen King really would be so proud of you guys.
Then why did you allow... this is so stupid.
Wait. Are these boys seriously the main antagonist of this movie?
Yes, Jova.
Again, this movie tries to juggle around in terms of who can be the bad guy.
So let me get this straight. The one thing we all agreed that was completely pointless in the original movie, that being the subplot with the bullies, has now been upgraded to them being flipping main antagonist in the movie?
This feels a lot similar also to a Goosebumps episode, to the point where the human characters are put also on the same par with the supernatural.
Yeah, here's the difference though. Goosebumps was actually good.
For the most part, I can tell that there are a couple of episodes where still bad.
Goosebumps is a part of its time. I have fun with it, laughing at how cheesy and campy it is. But yeah, sure. But okay, to expand upon Jova's point. See, here's the thing. Let's compare, since Jova keeps bringing it up. See, the thing about Paranorman is that in Paranorman, that's the whole point. The family doesn't understand the kid, and they... admittedly, like the father does hold some kind of... However, over the course of the movie, the family does redeem themselves by each individually coming around and actually helping the kid and apologizing and all that good stuff. So it's an actual proper dilemma that the movie addresses. The dad in this movie being suddenly going abusive for no reason is never really properly addressed by this movie.
Right, you're a
love how nobody's seeing this happening. There's no single passing person in the street.
Okay. So, okay.
This running joke is still not funny, by the way. He weighs James Earl Jones for this.
But yeah,
he's barely in the movie. How much did they pay him?
Oh my god, I actually forgot that he's supposed to be the main antagonist.
No, okay. Feel time.
The budget was $500,000.
Shiroi?
You know, it's...
Sorry, go on.
The bullies have more presence than James Earl Jones.
How sad is that? How sad is that?
Consolation, Jova, apparently be similar to the uncles in the first movie. Kabosh
oh my god, that looks terrible.
Kabosh became the ensemble Dark Horse, and he has appeared ever since in other Casper media.
This movie is...
I can kind of see why. Like, oh wait, okay. For all the problems with this movie, James Earl Jones is absolutely selling his part to the audience.
Oh yeah, it's just not... It's not in this enough. But, Shiroi, here's my most basic theory on actually, no, this is kind of important. So.
Oh wait, I get it. So the dilemma is the bullies put the son in the house, but if he blows up the house, then the son will die.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, can we put attempted murder charges on the kid?
Here's what okay.
The father doesn't know. At least there's that.
Yeah, I know.
Shiroi, here's my best bet about why James Earl Jones is in this movie. You see, him and the producer of this movie happen to be friends outside, in IRL friends, and they had a bet going about something, and James lost that bet. And the bet involved that if you lose the bet, you have to be in this movie of mine for no charge. That's my best theory for why James Earl Jones is even in this movie.
And he didn't tell him what movie until after he lost the bet.
Yes.
Also, what was another movie we did, I don't think too long ago, where it's like they needed a conflict out of nowhere, so they made someone abusive? Like, I'm sure there was a movie we did fairly...
Oh, there's a lot of bad movies that do that, Shiro. You're going to have to be more specific.
What's the quote from Venture Brothers? Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
Yeah.
I can actually think of quite a few.
Wow, but, this is a real problem, huh?
Yeah, it is, especially in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, wait, let me guess. Either it's the baseball bat and glove that give him sentimentality, or... Oh, he left a note.
Let's see.
In the baseball glove, you were kind of right.
Oh my god, it turns out your son was telling the truth.
Maybe you have a point, but this time really is both.
Yeah, I thought it was like, wait, did he drop it?
Yeah, I know. I finally heard the F word there too.
Like, I swear that's what I heard.
Yeah. Anyway, you were saying to you?
Maybe you're at a point. This town really is ghostist.
Yeah, well, that was me who said that, actually.
Sorry,
But
I was gonna...
Really?
Oh, fuck off.
really, the imagination thing had a point to the writing. God damn it!
I'm the one who's been hanging out with your son because you won't.
But I thought you'd like that it'd have a point, Jover, and it not be pointless.
Honestly, I would have rather we just dropped it and let it go. But you know what? Fine. Okay. Let's see if the movie can somehow try and salvage itself.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Keep hoping.
Oh.
No, it's okay.
Wait. Wait.
Pretentious message where there's no meaning. There is a balance between things. Stop pretending that parents that are overworking are neglectful by default. Yes, there are, but it's not always like that.
It is literally the same problem with the likes of Sonic X or 1,000 Words here. Well, actually, okay, you know what? To give Sonic X credit, it actually does address that the parents do try their best still. So, if anything, the problem was more so Chris Thorndike just being way too needy.
My thing with Chris Thorndike is it's more so that he's needy, more so than the parents are bad parents. Like, I mean, the parents are not perfect. Don't get me wrong, but Chris is such an unlikable, needy jackass that it's just like.
And yes, coincidentally gets picked up by the teacher Sheila.
I'm just thinking of the Jet video now.
Not destroying this town. It's just one mansion.
Look at that. Look at.
Suggest that it's not the first.
It's a shame this isn't here yet right now because I could make. Look at this. There's careless driving. Your favorite. But Shira, you know how I got that bad theory? See, it's because remember that early 2000 sitcom that I've been showing you clips from.
Yes.
There's the
Oh my god, they were alike. They were both trying to save this town, but in different ways. Maybe these two can make it work.
Yeah, I don't care about the romance because it's so forced and contrived. Basically, the two siblings, the brother and sister, they have a bet going on, and whoever loses has to kiss the lunch lady from the school, right? So the boy loses, and then when he goes do it, and he's trying to gather his courage to talk to her and about it, the lunch lady looks at him like, "You lost the bet, didn't you? Okay, let's get this over with."
Oh, this happened.
Holy short, stop. It was Polly Shore laughing, by the way.
Well,
I think me and Pedro laughed over him.
And yes, this joke is still not funny.
Oh, look, that's the nicest line I've ever heard it. That's some radical restraining.
Dude, that's so gnarly.
I just heard James L. Jones say the word radical.
Stay fresh.
Surprisingly, the first time I've ever heard him say that.
Well, Jova,
enough and you will see everything.
Well, there you go, Jova. That's something you could think out of this movie. It got James Earl Jones to say radical, so it has that going for it.
Are we sure these guys are gonna be love interests?
No, they are. That's the thing, Jova. They become a couple just because they have literally no care. They barely even talk to each other.
That's the thing, though. At this point, it would have to be at the last moment
it is.
for them to become love interests.
Trust me, it is going to be a thing. Again, Jova, remember, shitty 90s movie writing. Like,
ow. Frying pan. And yes, the bomb is actually armed and ready to be detonated.
I love
it. So basically, I did miss a bit, but I think I can figure it out. They're trapped in the building. It's about to blow up, and everyone will die except Casper, I guess.
Yes, and
no. Well, okay. More so, it'll be just Chris that dies because the bully's locked in the mansion.
That rainbow shirt.
Yeah, like the girl is cosplaying as a rainbow apparently. Like just, oh look, a Casio watch. Like that brings me back.
Casio,
yes.
What country is Cassio from?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably Switzerland.
Yeah, probably is. And yeah, so she's about to sacrifice the car to knock that tree down.
Japanese.
I'm pretty sure that car's just gonna crumple and wrap itself around the tree.
Yeah, and that's not how it works, lady. Like, what are you doing? What the is she insane? Like,
yes.
No, the impact will not cause that. No.
I know the sheriff stood there and did nothing.
I get this is a cartoony movie, but still.
Oh.
Yeet.
Why would you throw that away? Why not hold on to it to make sure he's out?
Jova. It's like you know what, Jova? Now that I think of it, this was another '90s cliche, Jova. And remember, the Chip and Dale movie made fun of this. Remember when Chip throws away? It's like when Dale throws the phone away after telling his agent to fuck off. Hey, you probably should have kept that. Oh, right. Yeah, we regretted it immediately after I did it.
But yeah, the twist is that we're pulling a Metroid twist. The bomb still is a timer.
Of course it does.
So what to do?
Wait, what the hell is that line? You raving Yahoo maniac! What does Yahoo.com have to do with any of this?
This is the moment of Steve Gutenberg redemption, quote unquote, because he's trying to actively say something into the house.
Is redemption as well an actor?
I'm totally saving that line for later commentaries. You raving Yahoo maniac! Like, what the hell is that?
Also, Glibs, it's a little too late for his career as an actor, but it's funny you mention that because on Yahoo News they even have this news link here which shows what the internet was like in 1997.
They're probably Yahoo maniacs.
Oh yeah, Pedro, remember how I mentioned that the internet was something in 1997? The Kid's Guide to the Internet video shows what it was like.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. It's so weird, like, because see, the thing is, you have to understand that internet wasn't around in my country. Like when the internet finally arrived in my country, it was in the early 2000s. So
what is Casper gonna do to save the day? Especially because
then again, from what I've seen, that his internet wasn't exactly that interesting or useful. So
also, yes, there's mass sighting now.
Yeah, so again, you're telling me that nobody in the original film believed in Ghost prior.
Jova, at this point,
what is Casper gonna do?
Jova, at this point, you're better off just pretending the original film doesn't exist.
Eat everything.
The film clearly doesn't give a rat's ass.
Inflation fetish, nightmare fuel, and everything.
Good night, everybody.
This truly
is God, Casper's butt. I did not need to see that inflated.
Well, now that you've seen it, and now you cannot unsee it. Have fun with those nightmares.
And that defeated. Wait. And that defeated Kaposh? Just like that?
Well, more like he did defuse the bomb. But as for Kaposh, we will see in a second.
Yeah.
Hold on. Rodney Dangerfield is about to have his last line in the movie, and it's a doozy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy it's standing, and I don't care an iota about the kid that could have died.
You are a terrible mother figure. Everybody's
still gonna date figure, isn't he?
Yes. There you go, Shira. Now he has two terrible parents to take care of him instead of one. Hold on.
Alright, here we go.
Well, at least one of them. Hold on.
Okay. That is completely realistic.
I guess again, we try to thing is like, politicians are supposed to be, jokes more than anything.
Yeah.
No. The joke is more so the politician trying to spin it to his favor.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was Jerry Wheeler for a second.
Yeah, this is not to convince Kabosh that Casper and the uncles have potential.
Really? Again, was Kabosh ever even really a bad guy?
And this actually gives the three an excuse.
Let's all be arseholes.
Well, yeah, you can tell, like me and Jova talked about, you can tell that the writers of this movie were trying to address people's concerns with the uncles in the original film by giving them more sympathetic moments.
And that apparently works. Kabosh apparently is that stupid.
Wait a minute. Family has to stick together for all times. But the three uncles are constantly out a lot.
That's the punchline. That's the punchline for the joke. Now Kabosh remembers the name. See, we went full circle, and it's still not funny. Bye.
Also,
oh my God, this looks terrible.
Okay, not for nothing. Kaboshes, they have to always stick together. Except in the original film, there were several bouts. In fact, one of the plot points is that the uncles are out a lot of the house, leaving Casper on his lonesome. So
again, not to mention, how did they got from here, a place where the ghosts consider home, to Whipstaff?
Dad, are you going to apologize for breaking my shit?
I wonder, Tio, is like the Wendy crossover supposed to maybe explain how they eventually
I never seen that one, but I'm guessing no.
He does?
It's been a while since I saw that one.
Apparently, he does have a great teacher. Apparently, I don't.
You know, is it just me, or does the inside of this house look a lot like the inside of the house in the original movie, too?
Well,
I mean, granted, not entirely like it, but it looks very similar.
To me, it actually kind of looks like the house and the climax of Home Alone 2.
Oh.
Eh?
Oh.
No.
Yeah, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people like those tools.
Wait a minute. So, not only is it widely known throughout the town that ghosts are a thing now, but the movie implies they're going to turn this into a tourist trap, which means that people outside of the town will probably know about this.
And again, not to mention, we do not know that transitioning point that will make the uncles and Casper actually go from here to Whipstaff Manor. Oh. We know that Whipstaff Manor is connected to Casper, so it's easy to in that case, but we don't know what happened. And yes, the bully's also getting arrested.
Congratulations, Chris!
Wait. That's really it for the bullies?
Yes. Yeah. That line was so fucking... But again, that's the movie's way of quote-unquote her owning him. Brock, you're a butt, and you'll always be a butt.
Good day.
Never mind. These kids locked that kid into a mansion. Now, granted, they didn't know the dynamite was there, but shoot, they could have been guilty of manslaughter.
Any bully, well, she's not supposed to be a bully at this point. If you go to a bully and you call him a butt, just a butt, he'll probably just laugh at you because it's such a lame insult.
Yeah, but if I could try it now. Hey, Pedro.
Yes.
Turns out you're a bot.
No, I'm actually an ass. Go on, Shuri.
Oh, God, I forgot. Yeah, considering the insults from the bullies themselves, I think butt might actually be an improvement.
I guess.
A small one, but still.
Although we need a sort of a title drop.
That was actually too, I had to at the very least give it 1 point because that was a direct reference to the shorts, because usually too, what they do in the shorts is they have the characters go ghost.
Wait, never mind. I guess the boys did get some comeuppance.
They do, but
I cheat from a tree. That's
they did, but too little, too late by this point for me. Nah, that name will
we can go home now.
Nah, that name will never catch on. And that's it. The movie just ends.
No post-credit scene, so don't worry about that.
Oh, but a pop-credit scene song just for you, Tio.
Yeah, we don't get a post-credit scene. We get a pop-credit scene.
Fuck off with that.
Wow.
I like the puns like this. Okay, Tio, my pun was better than the ones in this movie.
And you don't even get paid to do that.
Exactly.
Does it all for free.
Tio, it's not about the money, it's about sending a message.
Yeah, and there's my message, this movie sucks.
So, final thoughts?
Alright, I'll go a bit more into it now. It's not very good. I mean, what else do you expect from a Saban-funded, Fox-made, direct-to-video affair?
That's the thing. Power Rangers was good.
But remember, Jova, those movies went to cinemas. This didn't.
Yep.
Oh god, I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this. The Turbo movie was even better.
Yeah, I mean, I had like a few funny jokes. And hey, that movie also had adult-only jokes that the kids aren't gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, gotta give the adults something.
A good movie.
I would have preferred a better movie. Yeah.
Exactly.
Look. I'm just gonna say this, guys. For all the problems the original movie had, I did not feel my patience being tested nearly as much as I did with this movie.
Oh no, the first movie actually had passionate, talented people working on it. Their effort was incredibly misguided a lot of the times, yes, but it was still an earnest effort from people who cared. This is as much of a cheap cash-in as I've ever seen.
Yeah, I get the feeling. I get the feeling that that Saban and Fox got their hands on this, but by the time they're ready to start production, yes, the same orchestra who did the music for Spider-Man and Digimon. I get the feeling that they got their hands on this movie, but they'd already spent a lot of their money goes into Power Rangers and the like, and so they have little to spend on this. But hey, I said music earlier. That music's the best part of this movie. It's like, you can really tell. Best Friend by Paul Gordon, the Digimon composer again. But to finish up, unfortunately, it's bogged down by a lot of other things. This logo, for a start. The most of the jokes are terrible. The plot, if you even call it that, is just a bunch of generic 90s cliches.
Yeah.
The acting, a lot of the acting is just really bad, even from some of the more experienced adult actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing. That it's one thing for bad child acting, but it's another thing entirely for bad experienced adult actor acting. Like, you think they'd know better, then again, you think they wouldn't star in something like this, especially James Earl Jones. But
I refer you back to my he lost a bet theory.
Yeah, that's it. He lost a bet. But hey, luckily for James Earl Jones, Command and Conquer 2 was only 2 years away. But you know what, Sonny? The
losing a bet thing is what I usually reserve for Jennifer Tilly because she's a professional poker player.
Aside from a few decent little bits overall, this is not a very good movie.
All right, then.
Shirai?
All right. Well, it turns out, though not in full, I have actually seen this movie.
Oh, okay. So
it was on TV at some points. They did air this for some reason. It's just because there's little bits and pieces that I recognize from seeing before, but I don't think I've ever, watched the movie from beginning to end. Honestly, it wasn't as garbage as I thought it would be. It still was, but I expected so much worse. Like, it only started to become grating, but from the switch with the father onward.
I get that they were building up to a boiling point. And yeah, usually bouts where the parents do something abusive, like rip up the photos thing. Yes, that's supposed to be a bad moment for them. The point of a scene like that is when the parent realizes, oh God, I really screwed up, and then they work to sort of make things up to the kid here. I guess that the father saving his son's life is that, but to be fair, saving a life is, okay, maybe it's not a common courtesy. Although, why they never called the police is beyond me.
That's the thing,
Joe. But I digress.
The sheriff was among the crowd. I guess he did nothing.
Huh. So, I guess him saving his son's life is really supposed to be that.
Some of the jokes were fine, and I did get a laugh out of a couple of them, but most of them were pretty just your standard terrible jokes for these kind of budget movies, especially with the bullies. They're like the weakest part of the movie.
Although that does remind me, I guess, to give this movie one thing for credit, for the most part, whenever somebody got punished for the bullies' antics, it was the bullies. Like, the principal did say that whole "come to my office" thing to everyone, but aside from that one scene, the kid thankfully did not get into trouble for stuff he didn't start, which, trust me, that is a cliche of school stuff and media I really do not like. I don't care who started it.
Like, the teacher was at least like, oh, come to the office, and then once they were, out of earshot of the bullies, she was just kind of like, okay, I know they've been picking on you for a while, kind of thing. Yeah. So it was not like, okay, like, we know it's not you. We just want to talk to you privately about it. So that was at least, decent. Not sure what else to say. The music was just kind of, James Earl Jones was kidnapped for this.
Yeah. So, okay, how do you think this overall holds up compared to the original movie?
It doesn't compare. Like, the original is a much better movie. And with some of the contradictions in it, I don't understand why they didn't just, sell it as a reboot of sorts. I don't know.
Honestly, it probably would have worked better as a reboot or timeline.
Jimmy theorizes that it runs on an alternate continuity, and it might as well be. But if I recall correctly, it does manage in promotional materials and stuff that it tries to be a prequel to the first movie.
Remember, it's called Casper: A Spirited Beginning. It was meant to be supposedly the origin story, supposedly.
It just feels like more budget TV show kind of thing than anything. I don't think I have much else to say about it. But yeah, it's like, the original movie gave a backstory that, was just said. They didn't really show anything, so they could have easily made a movie about it, like, even if it was just like an hour or so, because the backstory wasn't too elaborate, really. Although they could have done quite a bit with the father. Casper's father, not the father in this movie. So actually, no, they could have made a full movie on it, now that I'm thinking about it. But I don't know why they ended up with this. It's just bad.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll go next.
Also, I forgot, Jova. Was it one of you guys that mentioned during the commentary of the first movie that why wasn't Casper's father, a ghost? Because he had...
That was me.
That was Jova.
Yeah,
that was Jova.
Yeah, that was a good point. Yet I can finish business and everything.
Because Sherry and Diana didn't think about what they were writing to, clearly.
Come to think of it,
superficial level only.
Come to think of it, this movie adds a few questions to that. Like, at first we're led to believe, a ghost sticks around if they have unfinished business. But according to this movie, no, you gotta be registered and all that crud. And apparently, Kibosh should be taking ghosts back to the afterlife or something.
Ideally, the thing is that they need a proper quote-unquote license after proper training. That's why Snively was not intervening. He was only asserting the situation for the most part. So
what? Ghosts have a scare quota, apparently.
Or a license to scare, yes.
This is one of those movies that tries to add to the lore, but honestly, I feel like it does more damage than good.
This is an attempt at adding to the lore?
I mean, you can see stuff in the afterlife to be that.
If this is them trying, I don't want to see why it would be like them not trying then. Jesus.
Plot twist, them not trying is actually a better result. But I mean, I'm sorry, this does not feel like a proper prequel to the original, which just frustrates me that they based off of that. Like, hey guys, maybe based off the fact that the first movie made you a good ton of money, has, bits for a sequel. That's usually the kid and caboodle in the movie industry here and there. And again, you're basing the sales of direct-to-video bouts here.
Yeah.
Not to say that those can't be good or anything, but...
Oh, that's another...
You do realize those are different markets for a reason, right?
Oh, that's actually another good point, Joe. Sure, you didn't comment on how this movie looks. What about the awesome special effects?
Oh, God.
Ew.
Exactly. Joba, your thoughts on set effects?
Look, like I said, I understand that there might have been a drop in quality here, but my God, I think this might be a bigger drop in quality than the Alpha and Omega sequels.
That's sad.
And even the first movie, for those, if I remember right, is also pretty ugly.
The first movie was...
No. The first Alpha and Omega movie is fine. It was an indie project, essentially, but one that looked fine.
Like, the animation by Fia in the first movie was okay. It was serviceable. It got the job done. It wasn't Pixar tier or even DreamWorks tier or even Blue Sky tier, but it was fine. It got the job done, but then the sequel was...
It was passable, I'm guessing.
Like Bob Show said, I don't think the second movie dropped too much, but when you get to the third movie, yeah, that's when the major drop is. Like, there's literally a point here where they literally swap sky backgrounds in the middle of a scene for no reason. I'll show you after this. I'll show you after this. Go on, Joe.
Regardless, though, like, this is one of the most massive drops in quality I've seen. And the budget shows only $500,000. I mean, yes, no, even by the 90s standards, that was chicken feed in regards to, like, budgeting even a direct-to-video movie. What the hell were they thinking? Were they thinking?
I get the feeling they wouldn't, Joe, because if, like...
I mean, and I get it. Saban, being Saban, might do some stuff cheap, but I'm sorry, no, even compared to Power Rangers, this looks cheap.
It's abundantly clear that this was a cheap cash-in from people who didn't give a rat's ass about the property. This was made because the first movie was a huge success, but it's literally like Shiro and me keep saying, okay, we can build a prequel, we have the technology, but we don't want to spend a lot of money, so... here's your result.
Hand sandwich budget.
Again, though, and like, okay.
I don't know, sure. I think this is more like the budget of a sandwich that has nothing but one piece of salad, one leaf of salad in it.
They didn't even butter the bread. It's just like bread and lettuce.
Damn. But I mean, yeah, that's what this feels like. Like, and again, despite that cheap budget, they got some noticeable cast members. Again, what is James Earl Jones doing here? Again,
bet.
Lost a bet.
Or they have dirt on him. It's usually one of my go-to theories for these cases is always either he lost a bet or they had the producer / director / whoever has dirt on him.
As for Steve Guttenberg, remind me, was this around the point when his career was starting to tank and this might have been a case of him trying to salvage it?
Yeah, so this was way after the last Police Academy movie where you
by this point, Steven Guttenberg was really in that point where he was trying hard to stay relevant, and this is by far his most desperate move.
Again, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I feel like his acting bout was worse than Pauly Shore's acting bout in this movie. I mean, and it's not just over the fact of who has more presence or whatnot. I feel like Pauly Shore at least acted to his character better, whereas Steve Guttenberg, I get that the father's supposed to have redeeming qualities, but the way Guttenberg acted made him just come off as a prick.
I was personally more bothered by the Rainbow Girl's acting. Like, the girl is so lifeless.
Jennifer, you mean? Oh, yeah, no, she's, somebody find her soul, please. But yeah,
Shang Tsung is keeping it, so sorry.
I guess the bully actors were fine. And hey, okay, the Ghost Uncle trio. They acted well. And of course, let's be honest, the best actor in this movie was James Earl Jones. Even though this is a pretty terrible movie, if I'm to voice my honest thoughts here, I do feel like there's not necessarily a bad scene with James Earl Jones. Let me reiterate, there's never a bad performance from James Earl Jones in this particular movie. He does all the lines solid and well, and really does sell the character well.
Mm-hmm.
So, well done, James. Then again, it's James Earl Jones, so I kind of expect nothing less.
Yeah.
And to give this movie credit, there were jokes that did work. that being said, I feel like, okay, the writing is at a stance where maybe with better acting, they could have sold us on this plot here.
That's
the
a big
problem
if.
is, like, ironically, this feels like an inverse of the original movie, whereas the main problem with that movie actually was the writing and everything else was great. This is a case where the writing, okay, more so with the jokes anyway, like, the writing could only really work if the acting was as well, at the very least, as well done as the original, because, no, the acting there was great. Here, though, the acting is nowhere near on par on the whole, aside from, again, James Earl Jones. And, like we've mentioned, he's barely in this movie. Like, just, no, the story is not enough of a sell. I mean, if I were to maybe give this movie some leeway, maybe it was a good story just told horribly, but no, I'm not even gonna go that far. Like, I feel like what we had was a story that could have been fine, but no, the acting does not sell it, so it really just comes off as bad. And that's this movie in a nutshell. It's pretty bad. I mean, yes, some jokes will work, but is it really worth watching?
No, they're too few. They're too few and way too far in between.
Yeah. And again, it's not even like you'll be missing out some lore, because this movie contradicts the original movie so much that, like Tia said, might as well just be its own universe. Again, it just ticks me off that this is part of what killed getting a sequel to the original.
Yeah.
But I think I pretty much have repeated that problem enough, so who wants to go next?
Teo.
I'll do. Let me start first with what I wanted to mention near the beginning about some stuff from the previous movie. Apparently, we did mention that the script of the first movie might have been a bit all over the place in terms of some subplots going over, character dropping and going later on and getting later on and stuff like that. We might have a reason for that, because apparently, at least this is one thing that TV Trolls mentioned, but I had no idea what source did they use and nor in what capacity. But it's mentioned that apparently, of all people, J.J. Abrams did an uncredited rewrite of the script.
What? J.J. Abrams was involved?
Apparently.
Oh, that would explain the lackluster ending, but
anyway, the again, we don't know in what capacity did he intervene, if this is true in the first place, mind you. But it would explain why everything is so disjointed. Then there was an entire song that was supposed to happen before the scene where Kat talks to her father about the credit card and the dress. That song that apparently was repurposed for the Spectacular New Adventures of Casper cartoon. Christina Ricci mentions that she didn't particularly care about her performance, and apparently Eric Idle basically Mandela affected this movie out of his head because he doesn't remember shooting it. So that explains also why his performance is like that. He probably wasn't giving a single shit and just waiting for the paycheck. And honestly, I do not blame him. Other than that, it's mostly just a couple of minor deleted scenes, like the cameo from Steven Spielberg himself, which he did mention that in hindsight it was better this way because he feels more comfortable behind the camera instead of in front of it. I know I haven't seen The Fables, man, so I cannot tell for the time. But yeah, enough about the first movie. What about this one? It's a mess, to say the least. It's honestly even worse than I remember. I remember watching this on VHS when my neighbors had. That it was like, sure, I saw the first movie. Time to check this one. And again, the advertising promised all these new characters, you know. And yeah, this just sucks. Almost everything in this. There are a couple of jokes that are somewhat funny, but they're ruined by everything. The acting is all over the place and bad. The only one who's giving a shit is James Earl Jones. And his presence is not really that, you know, imposing enough in the movie, especially for the character he's supposed to be playing. We're supposed to be kind of terrified by this figure and be tense by the fact that his looming presence is reaching to this town and Casper is in danger, but instead we don't give a shit and we forget that he's a thing until at the end when he pops up. Pauly Shore, we already talked enough about it. Steve Guttenberg. Again, it might sound too cynical from me and everything, but as you can imagine from my lambasting, I don't really consider him a good actor. And I know that the Police Academy has a lot of fans, but I never particularly care about those movies, if I have to be honest, even when they were relevant. Because trust me, for these days, they really aren't. No, and the child actors don't work. The actors who played the teacher sheet of Instagram does not work. The cameos don't even work. Rodney Dangerfield is just reading his lines. Ben Stein was
Is he a cameo
there.
or is he an actual actor in this one?
He's the mayor.
Technically, he has more than just one
time
scene.
is less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And to give it credit where it's due, the Ben Stein cameo surprisingly worked out well because for the first time in my life, I have now seen Ben Stein actually emote on his face. Never have seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
This was also the same movie that got me hearing James Earl Jones say radical, so I guess this movie is just the Pandora's box of stuff.
The music, again, Ion Zur is probably trying a bit, but a lot of times it fails. Like the quote-unquote dramatic moment of, Steve Guttenberg ripping out the poster of his son. The music is trying, but it's so cheap. And I know the guy is capable of better. So this was clearly just a job even for him. Again, the way it's shot, it really does resemble either a Goosebumps episode or a Power Rangers episode, as we said. The particular cinematography type of, the way the movie looks, even some of the cheaper special effects, which I still not convinced. Again, the idea that you have already pre-existing models from the 1995 movie, and you don't even bother to recycle them for your product, it just feels odd. This is the same as the Donkey Kong Country cartoon, where during its second season, used new models of lower quality instead of recycling the one of season 1, which were much better anyway. Again, I'm not a programmer of CGI, so for all I know, this is a problem in terms of coding that fucks everything up, and I'm not understanding it. But on a basic level, it feels to me like you have a way of saving cost and having a better product by the end. I don't know. The story itself is basic at best, but it suffers from all the mind-boggling that we mentioned. The fact that it doesn't gel well with the continuity of the first movie. And get it this, worse CGI like that, and it doesn't gel in continuity. How sad is it that the Swan Princess sequels have more, attachment to their source material than this has to do with the first movie? That's
especially okay. Would you say that even if Swan Princess 6?
Yes, because
that is sad. How sad is that?
At worst, they bother to put some minor retcons, but there is a step in between and mention, we acknowledge that this thing exists, but we want to modify in some manner. This is not even bothering to connect the dots with the first movie. Again, as mentioned, it might as well be a completely alternate continuity, for all we know.
We get some slips in here and there, which hint stuff from the original, but at best it's a hint.
They just had an easy solution to tie everything together. As morbid as it sounds, it could have been a case similar to, like I said, Resident Evil 3. The bomb still goes off, but Casper and his uncles are basically the only survivors, and Casper only knows one place where they can go, with some manor. That way, the whole sighting of Ghost doesn't get, big coverage in the world, and it falls into place for the first movie. Still, it's a dark ending, but it would have fit with the first movie, probably.
But again, we got a Wonder Woman 1984 situation on our hands here. I refuse to believe. Nobody believes that Ghost exists at the point of the original movie, and also, despite all the crazy stuff that happened in this one.
Speaking of that, how stupid is it that Casper trying to experiment his power is treated like a superhero origin story where he has to, prevent the most classic of store robberies, like he's supposed to be fucking Spider-Man. Fuck off. Like, this was before the superhero movie craze. Like, what was that?
I guess they wanted to give Casper a bit of a heroic side to him, even though...
Also, the puns and the obnoxious songs, but only reminds me just how much screwed up the Digimon movie got. And now I'm getting the idea that it was actually a Saban thing, like a trademark of fingerprint of sorts that they put on their products. So, hooray, I guess. No, I'm sorry. This movie is very bad. In order to be savage, it should be reworked entirely from the ground up. So there's very little that can be savage out of this. Again, I haven't seen the Wendy movie, the Wendy crossover movie, quote unquote. So we'll see how that turns out.
Well, as a Winter, in order for it to be a crossover movie, there would have to be a previous live action Wendy, but there isn't. So
well,
this is
Pedro, Batman v Superman is a thing without establishing Batman previously.
I guess you got me there.
Which Batman v Superman? Because technically, the one done in the DCU
the Zack Snyderverse, Jova. But still, Pedro.
Wait, no, I got it. It's me now. That being said, like Jova said, I refuse to believe that those characters are Batman and Superman. But whatever. I've already ranted enough about that movie. Yeah, that was shit. It's not, for the most part, it's not funny. There's the occasional good joke here and there, but like I said, they're too few and way too far in between. The movie looks ugly, like she always says. The music is the acting is atrocious. The voice of the teacher annoys my ears. The girl's acting is lifeless. The fucking editing is so freaking like annoying because it keeps cutting so fast. Like what else? The plot, what little thing resembles even remotely a plot, like no, it's like they've said, this is just a collection of 90s cliches trying to pass itself as a plot, and that it doesn't really work. It's not good. Like I said, for as flawed as the original movie was, at the very least there was passion put into it. This is as much of a blatant cheap cash in, we don't give a rat's ass about this and we're just squeezing this for money type of cash in. This is a very classic case of the filmmakers did not care, and yeah, the same team is going to make the next one.
Oh dear.
I remember Casper Meets Wendy being better than this one. Not much.
I saw some of that on TV as
Keep in mind though, being better than this movie is not exactly a high bar to meet, so take that with a grain of salt.
It's one of the rare movies to have a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean, Hilary Duff. I remember Hilary Duff being good as Wendy, at least.
Oh God, there's Hilary Duff in it.
Well, okay, like I said too, I'm not exactly a fan of Lizzie McGuire, the show itself, but I think she's good as Wendy in that movie. Okay, I remember her being good enough. I mean, she's not Haley Joel Osment in Sixth Sense or anything, but I remember her being fine.
Duff does.
Well, in this case, she literally sees dead people.
Hilary Duff does have a character outside of Lizzie McGuire, to her credit.
Well, sorry, it says that Lizzie McGuire is the only thing I know her from.
What about Food Fight?
What about
Food Fight, Jova? Yeah, that was crap. Again, I do faintly remember the Wendy one being better, but again, I could be wrong, so don't take that to heart. I guess we'll find out tomorrow, everybody, because, yeah, we're going to go straight into that and finish off the trilogy. So, tune in for that.